JS11 News, First Alert Storm Team Weather Center, and we are tracking this wintry mess. We've got a lot of different colors. The most colors we've had so far this winter on Max HD radar. And we're going to talk about what all of that means here in just one moment. We'll wait for some folks to get on board with our live stream tonight here on this January 30th, 2023 at 9:46 p.m. Make sure audio and video is doing good. Looks like we're in good shape there. So what I've seen so far this evening, basically along the Ohio River South, I-64 South, is where we have a variety of precipitation types. We talked about earlier this afternoon and earlier this evening on our newscasts that we would have 4 different types of precipitation. We would have some rain, which we have to the south, freezing rain, which is rain that falls and then freezes on contact. You got to have below freezing temperatures at the surface, and I had some of that on my car driving back in. So what we have right now is kind of freezing drizzle, freezing light rain over metro Louisville, far southern Indiana, and then into our Kentucky communities as well. It looks like just rain right now in Elizabethtown, right at 32 degrees, but it's going to be very critical to watch those temperatures very, very closely. We'll go to graphics full screen here so you can see that. But yeah, critical air temperatures to watch at freezing, 32 degrees, but then also the ground temperatures, the pavement temperatures, because once we get those pavement temperatures to go below freezing, you all know what's going to happen then. We're going to get a lot of slick road conditions, and that's going to be mainly happening to the untreated roads. Salt works just fine with freezing rain down to really cold temperatures. So we'll just have liquid on the treated surfaces. Neighborhood roads, side roads, walkways, sidewalks, watch out. That's where we're going to have the icy, dicey situation. So we're going to look at all the different weather model data that's been coming in. We're going to time this system out. There's another little one tomorrow evening that will bring in a light wintry mix to areas down south, generally south of the Bluegrass and Western Kentucky parkways. The winter weather advisory has been expanded. A tier of counties to the north goes over the Ohio River to include some of this light precip that has just kind of nudged its way into parts of Clark County, and you can see that in a little bit of Crawford, Harrison, Floyd counties as well. It's a little deceiving. I'll go back to full screen here. It shows snow in southern Indiana, but that's been kind of drizzle and a little sleet mixing in. So radar has a tough time when we are right on the edge of 32 degrees. You got Corden 29. The good news is where it's even colder, there's no precip. It's dry and Paoli 25, 26. So once you get north of Clark County, really no impacts because all the precip's going to be to the south. Now we're down to 31 in Fort Knox, 31 in Shelbyville, 33 in Frankfort, right at freezing now in Litchfield, Hodgenville, Elizabethtown, Springfield. And as I expand out here in just a second, you're going to see there's quite a bit more on the way. So this is it's a kind of a thin kind of band of this wintry mix that's spreading in from the southwest. All right, let's go back to the double box here. So we've got Ben Adkins, thanks for watching here, Mary Ridge, Beverly Haggis, Stuart Emerson, Lisa Barker. What about Taylorsville? Taylorsville might see 1/10 of an inch to up to 1/4 inch of ice and sleet. Don Bowling, Johnny Hayes from Hardensburg, Laura Hart, Sandy Pritchard. Thanks for watching, guys. Jorge Marquez from J-Town area. Patty Brown, John Fox. Got the freezing rain there down towards Okolona. Rita Harmon, Mary Ridge has decks glazed with ice in Sulphur, Indiana. Thank you for that report there. Linda Byers, thanks here for watching. Stephen Decker. Steven asking about will a winter storm warnings be expanded to the east? You can see they almost bump up to our viewing area. I think they'll stay out to the west as we just have a little bit less moisture to work with than the areas out to the west. So they're talking about maybe a little bit over 1/4 of an inch of ice out towards Evansville, Paducah, Memphis. Looks like we'll stay 1/4 inch or less, which would keep us in the winter weather advisory. Either way, doesn't really matter. You get 1/4 inch, it's going to be slick if it's sticking to the roads. The good news is when you get 1/4 inch or less, you're looking at less of an impact for the trees and the power lines. So little, if any, power outages with that little of ice. Also, the winds are fairly light, 5 to 10 overnight, so that doesn't add to the possibility of the ice damaging the trees and the power lines. So looks like we're in pretty good shape as far as the damage and the power outages, but the slick roads is our issue where we have the winter weather advisory, which you can see here. I'll go back to full screen so you can see that a little bit bigger. Again, we've got another tier of counties or two that have been included over parts of southern Indiana into the winter weather advisory. And there are lots of advisories for this winter storm. There's winter storm warnings all the way into Texas and into Missouri. The ice storm warning down here in western Tennessee, Memphis, Little Rock. So some treacherous travel down that direction. All right, let's go back to the radar, and then we're going to move into Futurecast here in just a second. Just checking out a few more comments before we start to dig into the timing and the amounts. What about Carrollton? Carrollton on the northern fringe, not a huge impact, but definitely some slick spots possible. It's going to be very, very light amounts there in Carrollton. Less than 1/10 of an inch, it looks like. And maybe a dusting of snow as well. So Ben, good question here. This graphic that I'll pull up pretty much sums up the situation for most locations along and south of the Ohio River. So we're talking about a wintry mix, Interstate 64 and south, but also far, far southern Indiana. Inch or less of snowfall, and then slick, untreated roads, bridges, overpasses, sidewalks, the deck, the porch. Just watch out. Stepping outside can be more dangerous than driving. Just trying to walk around in this stuff. Watch out for your driveway if it wasn't salted. If you're going to go check the mail, take out the trash, whatever it is, be especially careful. This is the kind of weather that can make emergency rooms busy because of the slips and falls out there. So we've got David Satterley. Thanks for watching. Who else? We got Lisa Elker, Brandon Hobson, Melissa Switzer. Booner Payton, Misty Stone, and Hale from Springfield. Dawn reporting some snow out of it in the Hardinsburg area. Yeah, thank you very much for your reports. If you're seeing sleet or snow or rain, feel free to chime in. Let us know what you're seeing in your backyard. Again, we're going to see a variety of different types of precipitation, from rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. I'd say the northern half will see that sleet and snow a little bit more, and then the southern half, and by southern half I mean south of Louisville, south of the parkways, the southern half of the winter weather advisory basically, we'll see more of the rain and freezing rain and sleet. So more liquid south, more of the frozen stuff to the north, but liquid's not good in this situation because with the air temperatures at freezing, you're going to get that freezing rain. So sleet, by the way, is the ice pellets that falls down as ice. Freezing rain falls as liquid and then freezes after contact. Just going to check the road temps really quickly. They were in the 40s earlier today. But let me check here. Road surface temperature down to 30. But we got still 43 at one of these locations here in Metro Louisville. So we're still above freezing with the road temperatures, it looks like so far. But those road temps will be dropping as the air temperatures continue to fall and we start to get some of this frozen precipitation across the area. All right, so if you're just joining us, we're checking out the wintry mix across the area. There you can see it with our dropping temperatures, all different kinds of colors. Here, this is a pretty common situation for a winter system in our neck of the woods, thanks to us. Seems like we're always on that freezing line, so we get just a nice little color palette here, which is just a wintry mixed bag. Now let's go ahead and switch it over to Futurecast as promised. And Mr. Doug Profit's going to be doing something here, and I'll have to be quiet here in just a second. So Futurecast picking up very well on the mix that we have. That's right now. And right there is 1 a.m. And there you can see most of it shutting off by around sunrise. And then another little batch of a wintry mix tomorrow evening right there, mainly south of the parkways. Let's go back to full screen.
Ready.
Go hour by hour. There's 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
I don't know why I did that.
Mainly dry tomorrow afternoon and cold. And then tomorrow evening's wintry mix south.
I'm Doug Profit. A winter storm moving across Kentuckiana tonight. Next on the WHS 1119, it's a mix of everything. Sleet started covering our cars here in downtown Louisville just a few hours ago. And Louisville Metro and State Road crews are already salting. Your weather first, next on the 19.
Next up, the ice accumulation.
Hi everybody, I'm Doug Profit. A winter storm is moving across Kentuckiana tonight. Right now on the WHS 1119, it's changing over from freezing rain to sleet. Take a look at the cars here in downtown Louisville. They are already covered with sleet tonight. Just ahead on the 19, the list of schools closed and delayed tomorrow is growing. Plus the salt crews are already out on the streets in Louisville and nearby counties putting down salt. Also new tonight, a shooting in Crescent Hill leaves one man in critical condition. It's all new on the 19, coming your way in just a few minutes.
All right, I'm just updating the ice graphic here. So this is kind of the ice zone, which has been putting out about a 1/4 inch or less of ice accumulation. Let me go ahead and put it full screen there. So there you can see generally along and south of Interstate 64, there's kind of a bullseye that's been showing up of that 1/4 inch amount around Litchfield, Elizabethtown, Bardstown. So we're talking about the Western Kentucky and the Bluegrass Parkway with a little higher ice potential because a little more moisture to work with down that direction. All right, so that's the ice potential. And this is the snow potential here. We'll go back full screen. So the very northern kind of edge of where we're seeing this mixed precipitation, a little colder on the north side. So that way you can get those ice crystals or the snow crystals down to the surface, and that's where we're looking at about 1 inch. There might be a couple spots that overachieve if we can get a decent switch over to some snow somewhere along, maybe just north or south of Interstate 64, might get up to about 2 inches of snowfall. So there are times tonight where, depending on your location, you might have just this drizzle that's freezing drizzle. You might get sleet mix in. You might get some snowflakes. You might go back to some drizzle by early tomorrow morning, just kind of in and out of these different types of precipitation. And the main impact is going to be slick and hazardous road conditions on the untreated surfaces and the bridges and the overpasses. Interstate 64, the elevated expressway through downtown, very famous for getting slick quick. The slider, the Snyder, it's kind of built up and it gets that cold breeze that seems to freeze it over pretty good as well. Thankfully, crews have been getting out ahead of it at 7 p.m. They were out putting down salt. Saw a lot of salt out there this evening. So again, treated roads, the salt does very well with freezing rain. I don't think I've ever really seen any big problems with freezing rain on the main thoroughfares, expressways, highways, and byways. It's those secondary routes, the rural areas, the neighborhood roads, side streets that get messed up and really icy from this kind of situation. We're going to let you know exactly how the roads are going to be tomorrow morning on Good Morning Kentuckiana. Our meteorologist Sam Gabrielli is going to be out on the parkways, or it could be a little bit worse. Storm team meteorologist Colin Peterson is going to be in here tracking the precip as it continues early tomorrow morning. Here's a look outside right now where we have 30 and 32, so we are again at that critical point where it's starting to freeze on surfaces. Right now it's freezing on elevated surfaces, on cars, on railings, on fences. The roads are still in pretty good shape though, as the pavement temperatures are still above freezing at the moment. Wind chill 23, north wind at around 10 to 15, and we've got that mixed precip report at Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Current temps, we've got down to 25 in Seymour, 24 in Mitchell. No precip up that way though. Scottsburg 28 down to below freezing now. In Elizabethtown down to 31. Hardinsburg 31, Shelbyville 31. So we're going to start to see some icing on the elevated surfaces there as well. 32 in Litchfield, Hodgenville, Springfield, above freezing in Lebanon, Munfordville, and Campbellsville. Now down south of the Bluegrass Parkway, and I'd say maybe a little bit farther south, like Greensburg, we're talking Campbellsville, Columbia, Kentucky, down towards the Cumberland Parkway, you may have just plain old rain for a good duration of this and lower impacts. There's kind of a Goldilocks zone as far as ice, which is not nice, not what we want, around the parkways and just north and south. So that's the zone that might get up to the quarter inch of ice, some sleet mixing in, maybe a little dusting of snow as well. All right, we can go right back to our winter weather alerts that we have, which is a winter weather advisory, winter storm warning just to our west. And that goes until 1 p.m. tomorrow. I think it'll get canceled early, which they often do. A lot of times there's a little buffer zone in the timing. So this is where we have the precip right now. Again, pretty much hugging the Ohio River and south, and Interstate 64 and I-71 and areas south. Not much precip so far. As you look south of the Bluegrass Parkway, still pretty dry in Munfordville, Greensburg, and Campbellsville, Columbia, and Washington County, Kentucky. Around the Lebanon area, still pretty quiet. But there it is. We've got all the different colors there with that mixed bag of precipitation over the top of the area and falling temperatures at the same time. So not a great combination for untreated roads. All right, I'm just looking over a few things here. Okay, this is, so in Jeffersonville, I-265, Lee Hamilton Expressway, road temperature down to 35 there. So that's getting pretty close to freezing. Air temperature 30. Just 1 second. Just looking at some stuff. Yeah, so it looks like pavement temperatures are still hovering above 40 in Louisville right now. I'm seeing 42, 44, so it's taking a little bit longer for the road temps to go below freezing or closer to freezing in Louisville, so that's good news so far. But they could drop pretty quickly at nighttime and with this colder air moving in. Elizabethtown, road surface temperature 43, air temperature 30.7. Down toward Fairdale, no, this would be down towards Southern Parkway along the Waterston, 43.5, road surface temperature 30.2, air temperature. Near downtown, 44.7 road temperature, 30.7 air temperature. up towards Prospect. Road surface temperature 45. So again, the pavement's okay right now for driving at the moment. As we progress to the late night hours, we're going to see those road temperatures start to drop even more. And then, of course, you've got the bridges and overpasses that get down to freezing way quicker because the air is flowing underneath the concrete. So you're getting the cold air on the top and the bottom, and you get those to freeze over very, very quickly, and the on and off ramps and things like that. So unfortunately, we'll probably end up with some of those accidents where folks are cruising along thinking the roads are just wet. You hit the bridge, you hit the overpass, you hit the on-ramp, and then you just slide off. So there's probably going to be some issues tonight as roads become slick and hazardous. You may want to delay your travel if you don't have to until things begin to melt tomorrow morning. Probably by mid-morning, a lot of areas will be in good shape. You get the, even though the clouds block the sun, we still get the radiation to come through the clouds that helps melt things as well. So that's what we have right now. Thank you again. I'm just going to check some reports. Some of these. Jennifer Barr asking, expecting bad weather for 48 hours. I guess it just depends on what your definition of bad weather is. We're going to be drying out tomorrow morning around sunrise, and most of the area will stay dry, and actually a much quieter weather pattern in the 7-day forecast. Let's get back to Futurecast because we'll go through this and we'll go full screen. So again, it's picking up very well, our Futurecast, the weather model data that's been coming in. You can see it's showing that mixed weather, and the placement's very good where we're not seeing much precip south. We've got light icing going on right now as we progress through the nighttime. That's around 1, 2 o'clock. And you see it's kind of steady along and south of the Ohio River through around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Then we start to see a slow sag to the south with the precipitation along and south of the parkways. But it's taking a while for, again, areas around Campbellsville, Munfordville, Columbia to get below freezing. And by the time you're below freezing, we're starting to wrap things up. So it looks like lighter icing south of the parkways. Again, it's kind of the Western Kentucky Parkway, Bluegrass Parkway in the bullseye of the icing. And then there we start to dry out. So tomorrow, maybe a little leftover drizzle in the early morning. Tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be a cold day. We got a high of 34 in Louisville. It could be below freezing all day over much of southern Indiana, just above freezing south. So you got to bundle up tomorrow. And then here comes another little glance of some of this wintry mix down to the south, a little sleet, maybe a little freezing rain possible. This one is looking south of the parkways. That's around 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. So there could be some minor impacts. Might end up with another winter weather advisory in those areas over southern Kentucky tomorrow evening. That's really quick, though. Watch how quickly it comes in, and then very briefly it moves on out. And then we're back to some pretty dry conditions for Wednesday. Models have been trying to give us a little bit of precip early Thursday down to the south as well, but a much quieter weather pattern in general is on the way in our long run. Here's, I'll pop up the 7-day forecast. We've been needing some dry days. It's just been a kind of a soggy, damp January. And here's a look at that 7-day forecast. Tomorrow evening, another little mix south as we saw in Futurecast. Looking pretty dry Wednesday for February 1st, high of 38. Groundhog Day Thursday, a high of 42. And there could be a few raindrops south. The European weather model and the Canadian weather models keep all that south of our entire area. The GFS, so the American weather model, keeps a little bit of that mix south early Thursday. A lot of the area is going to stay dry Thursday as well. We're cold, a little bit breezy Friday, 37 there, down to 21 Friday night, and then 44 Saturday, 50 Sunday, mostly dry, and Monday also looks dry. So we're in a much drier stretch of weather Wednesday through the weekend, which again, about time. We've had these systems, it seems, this month, every 2 or 3 days, whether it's been rain, whether it's been a little wintry mix. It's just been a busy weather pattern, basically ever since Christmas time when we got down to -5. We had some of that snow. So again, a mess over the region. You can see it spreading in from the south and the west. where there are a number of winter weather advisories, ice storm warnings, winter storm warnings. There's the ice storm warning in western Tennessee into Memphis and into Arkansas. All right, that's going to pretty much sum it up. We've got Linda getting some rain. Car has a sheet of ice on it already in Hillview. Thank you, Cheryl, for that report. We have the sleet in New Albany, a little glaze on the car and the deck. Cars covered in Charlestown, Indiana. Thank you, Tina Mattingly, for that report. Melissa, it looks like Scottsburg's going to be north of the precip, so it looks like you're in pretty good shape. Again, anything north of Clark County, not much precip going to happen. Just cold and dry. Yes, JJ, Clarksville, Indiana. Palmyra area, right on the very, very light precip. Should not be a major impact there. Just watch out for some slick spots. Emily Shoemaker from Magnolia, Kentucky. You'll get some icing there. Barron County looks like mostly like a light rain. You're above freezing for a lot longer. You might get some light icing really early tomorrow morning. Steve Givens, driveway is getting slick from the freezing rain in Brandenburg. Thank you for that report. Bardstown, you're right in kind of that bullseye, maybe a 1/4 inch of icing and some sleet. Karen Kearns, how long will the ice last? And it'll be fading away to a drizzle by around sunrise tomorrow morning. But it could be a freezing drizzle. Still keeping things slick out there, especially the untreated roads. Crystal, Carmen in Lawrence County, Indiana, ice-covered roads in town and highways. Thank you for that report. Sleet and Shively. Thank you, Lisa Elker. Freezing rain in Brandenburg. We've got the mixed bag coming down in Elizabeth, Indiana. That makes sense there. Freezing rain and snow in Ekron. Rain, but freezing rain in Mount Washington. Thank you, Mr. John Fox, for watching here tonight. Freezing rain in Custer. Laurel wants snow instead of the freezing rain. That would be a lot safer if we could get that. Trash can was iced shut for Beverly Haggist, I believe, up towards the Borden, Indiana area. Yes. Howdy, Suzanne from Bardstown. We're going to be live. Good morning, Kentuckiana from Bardstown. That's where I believe Sam Gabrielli is going to start off with our storm chaser, John Humphreys. Bardstown already getting glazing on the deck furniture. Thank you for that report. Linda Dixon from Harned, Kentucky. Thanks for watching. Thank you guys very much for the reports. Jeannie Hoover is asking, what does the different colors on our radar mean? Good question there. There's 4 different types that we're looking at. The green obviously is the rain, and then the pink color would be your freezing rain. The purple color indicates sleet mixing in with the freezing rain, or maybe even a little bit of snow, so you got all different kinds there. And then the blue and the white indicates snowfall. However, you could be getting just about anything wherever the temperatures are below freezing. Again, we just keep calling it just an ugly mixed bag out there for tonight. Really, the impacts are pretty similar. No matter what you get, whether it's sleet, freezing rain, a little snow, with these temperatures dropping below freezing, untreated surfaces are going to be pretty slick and hazardous out there. All right. So pavement temperatures, the road temperatures in Litchfield, Stephen, are probably still up around 40 degrees. So you've got a little while before they would drop below freezing. I would say probably after midnight. Patty Miller wondering how you know what the pavement temperatures is. There's just sensors. There's thermometers at different spots. There's Indiana has sensors and Kentucky has sensors as well. No magic there. Everybody can go online and look up the Kentucky-Indiana Road Sensor Network. It's free. We all pay for it with our tax dollars. But that is something you might want to check if you're going to be heading out, those road surface temperatures. But really, you can just step outside and be careful stepping outside. If it's frozen on your porch, it's probably frozen on the roads too. Again, if they're not treated. So Brandon, the beltways. So between either side, take 2 or 3 counties north and south of the Bluegrass Western Kentucky Parkways. You're looking at 1/4 inch of some icing possible. Robin asking about buildup on power lines. 1/4 inch or less, not going to cause issues on power lines. A lot of power lines can hold up to 1/2 inch, especially without much of a breeze. So I think the power lines are going to be in good shape tonight. Some of the pine trees, some of the weaker trees might get a little heavy, might be drooping a little bit tomorrow morning. But I don't think we're going to see a lot of tree damage either with just a 1/4 inch of ice. The bigger problems with the icing are going to be out to our southwest, where they're just going to get more precip. Cynthia, at 6 a.m., the roads could be slick and hazardous. Main routes are going to be in pretty good shape, thanks to the salt that's on the roads and the treatment. Floyd County has a mix of light freezing rain and some sleet from the last reports I saw. Crawford County, Indiana looks like maybe a little sleet, maybe a little light snow. The very northern tip of Crawford County looks dry. You're just right on the edge of that precipitation. All right, that's about it, guys. I hope it made a lot of sense. We are going to be talking a lot more about this coming up in about 43 minutes on WHAS 11, the night team. With this messy, wintry situation out there tonight, I would assume that there will be some school delays or closings where we have the winter weather advisory. So stay tuned to that. Of course, we'll have a crawl. We're already getting some school closures actually on WHS 11 right now. We've got the crawl going. Looks like Grayson County schools closed. LaRue County schools are closed. Marion County schools are closed. So a lot of the communities and the counties in the winter weather advisory in Kentucky, it looks like we're getting a lot of school closures. Washington County schools on e-learning, virtual instruction. So they're coming in. They're rolling in. The school closings. All right, that's about it. I will see you guys again about 40 minutes coming up on WHS 11, the night team. Sleep well. Have a peaceful night. Stay safe out there. Be careful just walking around. Again, the ice is not nice.